on. That shows your commitment to GEG Alaska, which is awesome. So welcome everyone. Happy Tuesday.
One more thing.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm in the middle of selling our house too.
What?
So
Go ahead.
That's something.
Well, thank you for joining us with all of that going on in your personal life. And thank you to everyone for joining us. It's a small crew tonight. Those 7:30 sessions or 8:30 for those in California, that takes some dedication because, winding down for bedtime and to relax. So we really appreciate you guys being here. This is the last event before we officially launch, which is awesome. We launch next week, Tuesday, and then we'll be an official GEG. So really excited to end the Google Meet series with Tammy Morris. For those of you who don't know Tammy, which I think is only MTG who's joining us from California. She is basically a professional development guru here in Alaska. She runs a professional development organization or network, I guess we'll call it, and then presents all of the time for teachers around the state. And she's a really super valuable resource here in Alaska. So we're excited that she is going to end our Google Meet series with ways to enhance Google Meet with extensions and other Google tools. So Tammy, whenever you are ready, you may begin.
Okay, well, thanks for the introduction. I'm not sure that I deserve that introduction, and I hope that I don't prove you wrong tonight. So we'll see how we do. We are really glad to have you here, and I'd love to have you introduce yourself to everybody in the chat. If you see me looking over to the right, it's because I'm looking at my screen over there because I didn't want to share the real estate on my first screen. So I have two laptops up, and I am looking at your introductions over here. And as Chelsea mentioned, I think most everybody in this group kind of knows each other. So it's probably more of a reminder than anything. But I think this is the first time I've been in Meet with Ashton. I'm not positive, but maybe so. She's in Fairbanks where I started out. So there we go. All right. All right. And if we get any more, just have them introduce themselves in the chat so we get knowing. So when I first started doing this session, I thought it was going to be mostly extensions. And then somewhere along the line, other activities with Google Tools got added on. So hopefully we'll see, I'll try to get through a whole bunch. And if not, you will have the presentation link so that you have lots of links in that presentation and information. So if we don't get through it all, then you can do the rest on your own. But before we get started on extensions, what I'd like for you to do in the chat box, type in the last thing you did and then add like a boss. Think about the last thing you did and tell us how you did it like a boss. Oh, yeah. Oh, baking cookies is a great thing to do like a boss. Awesome. And eating dinner like a boss. Yeah, that's about what I did. Oh, drink lemonade. Oh, being a big sister like a boss. Ooh, a big sister is a boss. My little brother calls me bossy all the time. All right. All right, we got another 8 dinner. That's just kind of a fun thing to do. I can't remember where I learned it just a couple days ago, and I thought that was so fun. I'm going to share that. And you guys are actually the second group. I presented from 5:30 to 6:30, and I asked them to do the same thing. So it's been fun, a lot of fun. All right. Ooh, you sent a Jamboard link to students via Google Meet like a boss, right? That's pretty cool. Awesome. Okay, so as Chelsea mentioned, this is the 4th in a series on Google Meet. The first 3 sessions were on these topics, and some of you were at all of those sessions, which is really awesome. Our next session is today, how to enhance Meet with extensions and other Google tools. Like I mentioned, we might end up taking all the time on extensions, and we might be able to get some other Google tools, but there's information always. I love to leave lots of resources with you to continue to pursue, even after we're meeting. So let's talk about extensions just for a minute. What extensions are is a little application, little piece of software program, little piece of programming that you add to your Google Chrome browser. Well, browser. It could be in any browser, but we're talking about Google, so we're going to be talking about extensions that go in the Google Chrome browser, and you can find them when you go to the extra 3 little dots and go to more tools and look for extensions over there in the top right of your browser. And when I stop presenting, I'll be sure to show you that. If you want me to show it to you and I didn't, then make sure you remind me. How that happens is that just like what I said, you're going to say, hey, you just click a button that says add to Chrome, and it will add a little bitty icon to Chrome. And if you already have too many, like I do, then it's going to actually put them in a little drop-down menu that you can find. Who uses them? Anybody that wants a little bit of extra functionality that does not come native to, it could be an app like Google Meet or something else. There are also things called add-ons, which are very similar. And honestly, I could not tell you the technical difference between add-ons and extensions, but somebody else here might be able to tell you that. So I think I kind of covered all of those questions. But if you have any questions about what extensions are or anything that I didn't mention, the chat is a great place. Or we don't have very many people here. If you want to unmute your mic, you are welcome to ask out loud. And I'll wait just a moment to make sure we don't have any questions. And then we're just going to jump right in. So the first one that I want to show you is called dual lists. Dual lists is for people who don't have a dual monitor or 2 laptops like I'm using right now. I said I didn't want to share my screen, and that's why I have 2 monitors, because, you know, when you are presenting in Google Meet, or Zoom or whatever, you cannot see anything but what you are presenting. I use an extra laptop to look at the chat, look at the pictures of people that are in the meet with me. But you can, if you don't have that second monitor, you can add this extension called Dual List. And what it does is it lets you take and split your screen. So if you have Dual List installed, you have a couple of different tabs up. If you click on one of those tabs and then use the Dual List extension, which is to click on that extension, it will divide that window into 2 screens so that you can see, like I would be able to see my Google Meet in one window, and then maybe my presentation in the other window or something else. Or whatever it is I'm working on. This could be used like your kids might want to use this too, like to be able to see Google Meet in one, and maybe you have them working on another website, maybe a Padlet, and you want to be able to have both up at the same time. Sometimes maybe you have explained how to do a problem and it's up on the screen and you want them to work it on another window or another screen. So that's what Dual List does. And then there used to be, well, there is an extension called Tab Scissors, and it did the same thing, but Dual List also helps you to merge those 2 windows again. And Tab Scissors has not been updated in a few years, I think it was, and Dual List has. So one thing when you're looking for extensions, you want something that has had a recent update, something that you know is going to work with the current browser version. So let's move on to the next one. This is Google Meet Grid View so that you can see everybody in your Meet. You know how in Google Meet and in Zoom too, you can only see a few people. Well, if you have the extension, you can click on Google Meet Grid View in the extension part, and it's actually going to put everybody that's in the meeting right there in front of you, just like this image. It will make the rectangles as small as they need to be to show everyone. And you also have the option to show yourself or not show yourself. Also, you don't have to show people who don't have their cameras on. So you can see here, we've got a few people that don't have their camera, actually a lot, that don't have their cameras on. If you don't necessarily want to see those people, you don't have to use up the real estate to show those. Now, this says fix at the end because Google Meet Grid View has been around for a little bit, and it actually also has, it had a bug in it. And so the only way they could fix it was to put out this extension, and they're working on fixing the other one. And I think they're going to go back. Now, this reminds me, I also want to let you know that most of these are third-party extensions. That means not Google created. So somebody else, another person or organization or whatever business, they created this to work with Google, and they're in the Google store, so you can find them there. But what's happening now is that Google is in the process of adding a lot more features. I think Grid View is going to be one of those features, and I'm not completely up to date on which features are going to be added or not. So if somebody wants to add in any information, that's fine. If you see any of these extensions that I am sharing that are going to be in an update, just, shout out and let us know, because there's no reason to put the extension on if Google Meet's going to do it natively in Google Meet. All right, moving on. Google Meet breakout rooms. So many of us started with Zoom, and we got used to being able to have breakout rooms. And there's a way that we can do that, but not, so for instance, like we could do it with Google Docs or Google Slides. We can create a doc, several documents or slides, and then we can give the links to those documents and slides to our students to where we want them to go. So small groups, we break them up that way, and then they can go to their own slide or doc. But with Google Meet breakout rooms, it allows the ease to just kind of send people into breakout rooms within Meet. So you don't have to kind of manually do everything yourself. So you can kind of see what's available here. And I think this is one too that might be coming out in Google Meet, but I'm not really positive about that. Moving on, because it's already 7:44. Oh my goodness. Nod reactions is so cool. So this is a Google extension that you can put on your Chrome browser. When you do, you get this little toolbar right up here. It's up in the top left corner of your page, and it allows you to react with some little emojis. So this is kind of cool too. If you click on the settings, you get this little window, so you can kind of modify your little person to be, a little bit more like you if you want to. But if you hover over this thumbs up, then you see these emojis over here to the right. So you have the option of choosing any of those. And when you choose one of these, it'll show in the bottom left corner. If you have nod reactions, you'll see in the bottom left corner one of these reactions coming up and who made that reaction. Everybody that is using this, though, if you want everybody in the Meet to be able to respond, they all need to have the nod reactions extension enabled. Now, this where it says "Want more emojis," this link actually leads to a place where you can vote for other emojis. So, for instance, that little emoji that kind of does this, I don't know, kind of thing, that's an option. And I'm like, well, that should be on there already. I'd love to have that for my students, right? So if they don't really know what's going on and they click on that little reaction, then I have an idea, and especially if I get a lot of those. So this is a really fun one to use, and can be really handy to use. And then also there's one called push to talk. So right now, when we're on mute, this what has to happen is we have to bring up our little toolbar that has the little mic on it, and then we have to click on it to unmute ourselves so that we can talk. Well, with push to talk, it treats your space bar like an unmute. So you push and hold down your space bar, it unmutes you while you talk, and you let it go and it mutes you again. Just a little bit of ease. You know, we get so spoiled sometimes. We think, well, it's not that hard to, you know, click on the mic and talk and then click on it again. But, you know, it's just that little bit easier if you click on that space bar. So push to talk is a really good one too. And Google Meet Enhancement Suite. Now this one, I wasn't sure. This is kind of like one of those things I thought, well, do I really need those? But again, it just makes life just a tiny bit easier on a lot of different ways. So if you have Google Meet Enhancement Suite, the extension in your Google Chrome browser, you do not need push to talk because that comes with this Google Meet Enhancement Suite. And also, I'm going to let you see all of these other basic features. Now, Google Meet Enhancement Suite is a freemium. So these are all basic features. These are all free. And if you want to pay some money, then you can get some pro features that actually just makes things a little bit easier. So a lot of what Google Meet Enhancement Suite is it's enabling a hotkey. So you assign a key that allows you to, like for instance, mute and unmute yourself. So it might not be the space bar, but maybe you assign a different key for that. You can also really quickly start a new Google Meet, and you can automatically join a meeting with your video set to off. So there's several of these features that are just, you know, they're just little, but all of them together can really make your life easier. So this is a really fun one to check out too. Another one, this one I had to think twice about, and I needed a little bit of more explanation from someone that had used it, but it's called Tactic Pins for Google Meet. And it can be kind of confusing, but if we look at it at the very basic level, what is happening is if you have this extension on your Chrome browser, if you have it enabled, when you click on the option to show captions, it will export a transcript of all those captions at the end of the meeting. So as soon as you put on captions, it starts transcribing and it keeps a record of all those. And then you can either store that on their server, or you could download it to a Google Doc and you have all of those. And I thought this might be kind of nice for, you know, if you've got some meets that you do and you've got some students that are disruptive, this might be kind of, you know, recording obviously is a good way. But if you're not allowed to record, because some districts are not allowed to record, maybe you're allowed to transcribe. Now, you might want to check with your district and see how that goes. But at least you might get some of the words in the transcription and be able to share those with parents or admin or something. But what will happen too that can make this confusing is when you very first start this, you get this window and it gives you a message that's kind of confusing. Just dismiss that and just know that it is transcribing, and that at the end you'll be able to download your transcript. Okay, so I see Chelsea is talking about the feature, closed captions in other language. That would be really cool if it was transcribed in that language. And I don't know why it wouldn't be. Very cool. All right, we also have a Google Meet call timer, which can come in really handy if you're trying to limit your time. For instance, I know my granddaughter, their classes, they're supposed to have and they're using Zoom, but they're supposed to have only no more than 30 minutes in Zoom for their class. But then they have all the regular classes through the day. This is a high school. And some of those teachers go over their 30-minute limit. And when you think about how important that might be, if a student is in 6 Zooms a day, it's kind of important to, make that at the most 30 minutes, a really good cutoff time. So you can actually, when you install this, when you start a Google Meet, it will start the time and it will show you how much time has gone by. And then it gives you the option to put a cutoff time. Now, I haven't ever gone to the cutoff time. We might make it tonight, but I can't remember what I put on there. I was vacillating. I wasn't sure how much I wanted to put on there. But anyway, this can be really handy. So next one. So those are all the extensions. Awesome. What time is it? 7:51. We did pretty good. Now, I thought I could stop and show you some of these on my screen. Would you guys like to see that, where you see some of them kind of in action? Ooh, Tana's got nod reactions. Did you guys see hers or see mine on this? See hers on my screen? See Tana? There we go. She's ready for the party. Okay, I'll go ahead and show you. So I'm going to escape here. And let's see. So in my Google Meet here, you can see my timer. Oops. Oh, you can't see my timer when I'm presenting. But I want to keep presenting. So anyway, it did look like that it was there at the beginning, but when I started sharing, it stopped. It does have that little, this little tab right here goes up in the top right next to like all of this other information here. So when you have the timer going, you can see when you're not presenting, I guess, you can see what's going on there. This is the nod reactions. And when I hover over the thumbs up, then I can see, I'm going to be like Tana and do another. Now you see it in my bottom left-hand corner, how I have these. And now I've got a question too. So this is what nod reaction. Ooh, I'm getting some applause from Tana. Good job. So this is how you see those reactions, and you can get that feedback from your students. It's so important to get that, and fun. Awesome. All right. Let's see what other ones might I want to show you. Probably not that one or that one. I can't demonstrate that. Or not that one. Well, so I think, let's see, let's go back to here and do Google Meet. Oh, when I was sharing my screen, or when I came out of the presentation, I wanted to show you your extensions. If you don't know, this is your little bookmark. It's like a bookmark bar, but it's an extension bar, and it shows these extensions. This little one is the symbol for extensions. If I click on that, I see all the rest of the ones that I have added to my Google Chrome browser. So if I want to use one that is not showing right up here, and excuse me, then I can go down here, and these are listed in alphabetical order, so it kind of makes it easy to find. These are not all Google Meet extensions. These are other extensions that I have that some of them make it hard to live without. But here's the Google Meet grid view. And so you can kind of see what this looks like. If maybe, oh, here we go. I'm going to enable grid view. And now here are the choices that I have. I can only show participants with video. I can also highlight speakers, and I can include myself in the grid or not include myself in the grid. And then I can also make this be my default view if I want to see the grid. I could also enable screen capture mode. So this is a really handy way to kind of see everybody all at once. Now, I think I missed one. One that I wanted to show you. And maybe I just didn't get it to put on the slides. I'm sorry to say I actually did not double check all my slides. So one that I wanted to show you though is Google Meet attendance, because this allows you to take attendance in your Google Meet. So if I click on people, now once I click on people, I can kind of hover over this. This little icon right here is my Google Meet attendance. And so what happens is it actually creates a spreadsheet that shows who all is in attendance. Okay, so I have this on right now. I can shut it off. And I can also enable auto scrolling or not. And this is where I can take a snapshot of everybody. So I can have a snapshot to show who is here. If I go out and I take a look at this spreadsheet, hello, oh, and it's not taking me out to do the sheet. I don't know what that was, the subscriptions. Anyway, so basically what will happen is it's going to create, sorry, I had not played with it with enough people to actually do this before. So it actually creates a Google Sheet that shows everybody, and it shows what time you took attendance. And then you can even take attendance another time in the meeting and another time in the meeting. And this is also one of those that's freemium. This is your basic, these are the basic features that you get with this, but then also there are some pro features that you can get with this too. And then let's see, let's do the other, I wanted to do dual list to show you dual lists. And it's not in, oh, there it is down here. It's so extensions kind of divides it up into those that need access to the site that you're on and those that do not need access to your site. So right down here, you find all the ones that don't have to have access to your site. So if I click on dual list right now, I think then it is going to, well, I can choose which sizes that I want to use. Let's just say we want this size to go with. Then it puts this down. Let's see here. It should have put it down into 2 windows. So, you know, I think what happened, because I'm sharing it, it's not working the way that it normally would work. But you might want to give that a try. I'm going to make this big again. Anyway, questions on those so far? Did we have any other questions, Chelsea?
I do not think so.
Okay, awesome.
I was going to add in one thing, because you had said earlier extensions and add-ons. As far as I know, correct I'm wrong, I think extensions are always up in your bar in the browser. Add-ons are specific inside each application. So inside Google Docs, inside Google Slides, the add-ons are specific inside the program, whereas extensions are up at the top. I'm pretty sure. I think that's a clarity I figured out one time when I was trying to decide what the difference in add-ons and extensions are.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. So extensions actually work within your browser, while the add-ons actually work within your app. So like specific, you can do slides add-on, or which is something I'm going to talk about in a minute. If you haven't used Pear Deck, that's a great add-on for slides, but you have to be in slides for it to work. So it's a little bit hazy for me still, because it's like, okay, well, some of my extensions you actually have, they're for Meet, so you have to be in Meet for it to work. So that's where I get a little bit confused on the technical part of that.
So Tammy, it is 8 o'clock, but we do have one more question for Maureen. She asks, what do you recommend for extensions management?
So I simply use what is in the Chrome browser. So if I click on one of these, when I click on the three dots, the more, it allows me to to disable an extension. If I want to on here, I can completely remove it from Chrome. So, and then I can also pin this so that this is one that is shown here. So I don't really use anything else other than this. If I want to see all of my extensions at one time, each one of these, no matter which one I click on, at the bottom, it says manage extensions. And now it gives me a whole page that shows me like my extensions. So if I click on, I had already clicked on that one extension, so it's just showing me that one. But I can, from here, look again. What was this again? Add to Google Classroom. Why did I do that? If I click on details, it gives me all the information. And this is really helpful for me to know, because I might decide that I want to disable this. And there is sometimes, I will let you know about this, sometimes an extension will cause a problem and you won't necessarily know that it's an extension. But I had a problem one time where I could not get to drive.google.com anymore, and it was driving me nuts. And it turns out that I had an extension on that was preventing. It says you've already, it was redirecting me somewhere else, and I think it was the offline one, but it was preventing me from getting to drive.google.com. So I sometimes the extensions can cause a problem, so you want to be careful about adding too many at one time. You just maybe add one or two at a time. So if you start having a problem, you can tell which one is the problem.